بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Your Excellency, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Shaukat, Your Excellency, Honorable Ministers, members of the Cabinet of Pakistan, the ones who spoke so warmly and so eloquently, and indeed in a very convincing way about the great value proposition that is standing in front of us and is ours to lose, and inshallah we will not lose it, given the vision and the determination of our leaders, of our people, and of our great, vibrant private sectors and investors from both sides, who I am honored to be with in this Saudi delegation and to have the opportunity to interact and meet with our colleagues and partners from the Pakistani side. Let me thank everyone who spoke about the warm welcome. And I can tell you, we felt the warmth of the Pakistani friendship. We felt the bond just as the door of our airplane opened last night, before we felt even the warmth of the air of Pakistan. And we have been embraced with open arms, open hearts, every second of our presence here, like every time we come to Pakistan. This is not my first visit. I've been here quite a few times, and every time we come, we see that Pakistan is not a second home. It is indeed just another very close home to us, and we are not amongst friends, we're amongst family. Let me start by conveying, not just to the honorable members of the Pakistani cabinet who are with us today and the parliamentarians, but to the entire Pakistani population, the warmest greetings from the leadership of Saudi Arabia, His Majesty, Custodian of the Two Holy Mosques, King Salman bin AbdulAziz, and His Royal Highness, Crown Prince, Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman bin AbdulAziz, who hold Pakistan in the highest regard as a strategic partner, a cultural partner, a country like no other in terms of the bond that has united us for as long as history can chronicle. Of course, the modern relationship of Saudi Arabia and Pakistan has its roots from the founding of Pakistan. Saudi Arabia was with the Pakistani people as they created their own nation in 1947. And soon after that, we entered into a treaty of partnership in 1951. So very soon we will be marking 75 years since the entry into that treaty. But Saudi Arabia and Pakistan need no agreements, no treaties. We are united, we are bonded, we are connected. Our Islamic relationship and our spiritual relationship have been created 1400 years ago with the advent of Islam, and the Muslim people in this region were one of the first to enter into Islam, and all of us studied early in our childhood how the people of the Sindh Valley embraced Islam so passionately, and we continue to see it. We see it in Saudi Arabia with over 2.5 million Pakistanis who are supporting our country, who are making Saudi Arabia tick with their contribution in every aspect of our economy and our society. We see it in over 160,000 Pakistanis who participate every year in Hajj. We see it in over 1.8 million people who travel to Saudi Arabia for Umrah every year, and in a way fuel that bond that unites our people. I am grateful that after our arrival last night, we saw that warmth and that bond and that reception from the top of the leadership of Pakistan. The Honorable President of Pakistan, Asif Ali Zardari, who is traveling today to a foreign destination, insisted on receiving us late in the evening last night and spent a good amount of time impressing on us his own personal belief and commitment to the relationship between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, and that Pakistan is always there for Saudi, and that he sees the potential, the complementarity, the synergies, the great value proposition that each of our country makes available to each other if only we would realize it. And he called on all of us today to work towards that common objective. We spent a good amount of time with the Honorable Chief of the Army Staff General Sayyid Asim Munir Shah, and he spoke also from the heart, as well as from the mind, as well as expressing in numbers that are very, very compelling, what the value proposition to the Saudi private sector from partnering with Pakistan. And he expressed his commitment that he will see to it that all matters of red tape will indeed be replaced with a red carpet treatment for Saudi investment. And he recalled how he and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman saw to it to create this special one-stop shop, a special single window, this special bureaucracy elimination mechanism, the Special Investment Facilitation Council, SIFC, which many of the honorable members of the cabinet are also members of and are seeing through that mechanism, as well as the other reforms that are undertaken by the Honorable Prime Minister, will undertake to make Pakistan not only one of the highest return investment destination, but one that is low risk, very much financeable, bankable, and attractive for Saudi investors. And the Honorable Prime Minister will be speaking to the Saudi delegation later this evening, and will be presiding over an exchange of agreements and MOUs totaling 27 that will be signed throughout the day. Many of them have already been negotiated and agreed, and will be announced today, over $2 billion. And these are very much organic agreements that have been reached without the strong facilitation that we're embarking on. I'm happy to hear what the ministers have said. I'm happy about the efforts of the Ministry of Commerce and its commitment to increase the trade. Trade between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan has already increased significantly by 80%, from $3 billion in 2019, $3 billion US dollars, to $5.4 US dollars. We are also reasonably encouraged by the number of Pakistani investment licenses that have also more than doubled in the last couple of years, reaching 2,000 Pakistani investors in Saudi Arabia. And the FDI stock in Saudi Arabia of Pakistani investment is already exceeding 1.6 US dollars. We are committed to and extremely encouraged by the announcement by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince committing the front end of Saudi investment into Pakistan, which is $5 billion. This was announced during the visit of the Honorable Pakistani Prime Minister when he, Shahbaz Sharif, when he visited a week or two after he was appointed in his role after the election. And there was a meeting in Mecca, essentially within the confines of Haram al-Sharif. Honorable Finance Minister and others were there wearing their ihram thobes, and I was also honored to be there, and we saw the warmth, the mutual commitment from both leaders, and that what I call the front end of Saudi investment was committed. And of course the PIF has a leading role. I am glad that we have the PIF represented with us in strength here in this delegation, not only representing the PIF, but also bringing many of the PIF portfolio companies, which is going to be spearheading the Saudi investments, including Aqua, including Aqua Power and renewable energy, including Manara and minerals. And I think these numbers, in my opinion, are only the tip of the iceberg. I think the limits, there are essentially no limits to what Saudi Arabia and Pakistan can do in the economic sphere, just like there are no limits to our friendship, to our bonds, to our historic relations, to our political relations at the highest level, from the days Saudi Arabia and Pakistan were created in the last century to many, many centuries in the future. I think it's been mentioned by our dear Pakistani partners. They have spoke about Saudi Arabia better than I would be able to speak about Saudi Arabia. And that again illustrates the kind of bond and complementarity that we have together. But let me say that Vision 2030 is not only doing well, it's actually ahead of schedule, and we're moving to start thinking about the next phase of envisioning the future. And the future of Saudi Arabia is going to be one of prosperity, it's going to be one of empowerment of the people of Saudi Arabia, empowerment of our private sector and our companies, of which we're very, very proud, and many of them are with us today, over 50 companies that have been breaking their schedules and their commitments elsewhere to be in this delegation, to be here in Pakistan this week. But Vision 2030, and this is the key point about Vision 2030, I want to say, is also about extending our prosperity to our partners and to our friends and to the countries that we need as much as they need us. Because no single country, no matter how rich, no matter how strong financially, can compete in the global world we live in today. You need demographics, you need large markets, you need human resources, in addition to capital. And Pakistan and Saudi Arabia together provide that complementarity, provide that scale, but you also need geographic reach, and we see that Pakistan is uniquely positioned geographically with your location extending from the Arabian Sea all the way into the heart of Asia, Central Asia, China, all of the Caspian countries, are markets and resources that are available to Saudi investors to reach through partnering with our Pakistani friends. In terms of what we can do together, I think first and foremost, we want to support Pakistan continuing on its economic stabilization. Without Pakistan reaching its economic stability, it's very difficult to do things together. What has been done in the short period, the last 2 years, is quite impressive, Your Excellency, Minister of Finance. And we think it's only the beginning, because once the momentum is created, there is no stopping you, and Saudi Arabia has been and will continue to be your partner to achieve that economic stability. A key element for the private sector from Saudi Arabia to contribute to is substituting exports that we are getting from other markets to more valuable, higher quality, and indeed lower cost exports from our brotherly nation of Pakistan. And we heard from the leaders yesterday not only about the mining and the natural resources, the granite, the marble, the building materials, where Saudi Arabia is the largest construction site in the world. Make no mistake about it. And we will be, in the next few years, awarding construction and material procurement contracts reaching about 1.8 trillion US dollars. Last year, the value of construction and EPC procurement, including materials, was $150 billion. This year, it's 180. It will be about $200 billion annually of contract and material procurement awards year after year. Unfortunately for us, but in a way, fortunately for our partners here in Pakistan, a lot of the input into those contracts is going to be imported. And we want it to be imported from Pakistan, all things being equal. In fact, we will compromise a little bit to make it come from Pakistan. So a great opportunity. Beyond trade, I think investing jointly in Saudi Arabia, investing in Pakistan, investing in third countries that are adjacent to Pakistan is an area that, as I mentioned earlier, with no limits. We see energy as a natural. The kingdom has been and will continue to be the kingdom of energy, the global leader in conventional energy. We're investing, continuing to invest in oil and gas, and His Excellency Minister Musaddiq mentioned oil to chemicals is a big area for growth, and we want Pakistan as a big market for chemicals to also participate with us. But the big area of growth, the new area of growth in energy for us is renewable energy. Solar, wind, hydrogen, green ammonia, green methanol, not only for the consumption of your large population and what is starting to be a vibrant, high-growth economy here in the heart of Asia, but we hope that we will allow Pakistan to also export this green energy, given the endowment you have. Mining and minerals, as mentioned already last night and today, is truly quite significant. Electrification is already sweeping the global economy. Saudi Arabia is committed to it. All of our auto manufacturing sector is centered around EVs and electrification. We have given our position, it's quite remarkable, given that we are the kingdom of oil, we are the global leader in terms of reserves, resources, production, exports in oil. We have bypassed the internal combustion engine and the diesel engine and leapfrogged straight into electric vehicle. That means that not only are we going to consume those EVs in Saudi, we're going to export them, but also we see the electrification sweeping the world. We see the demand on high voltage cables for transmission across borders and within countries. And we see that happening in Asia, from Pakistan all the way to Central Asia, where there is a lot of capped electric production that needs to be exported. But the unlock for that, as mentioned, is going to be copper, aluminum, and cable manufacturing. And this is one of those areas that we can't wait to work together to unlock for Pakistan, for Saudi Arabia, and indeed for the global economy. I am glad that we have with us a newly formed joint venture, Manara, between PIF and Ma'aden, our national champion in mining, and they are eager to start a number of initiatives in mining, but the first one we hope to conclude in the next few weeks will be for them to enter into the Reko Diq project with the state-owned enterprises of Pakistan and Barrick Gold, who is working in Saudi Arabia and sees our partnership as additive to the project. And I think this is just sort of a pilot project that we hope will be multiplied many times over. We see ICT as a huge area where Pakistan has a near unlimited potential. The key ingredient for ICT is human talent, and we believe in Pakistani talent. We have seen them in Saudi Arabia since the modern Saudi Arabia started bringing global human resources. Pakistanis were one of the first to come to Saudi Arabia and create Aramco through their human resources. Pakistani expertise was there early for our banking sector, and as Musaddaq mentioned, even as consultants and subject matter experts. He mentored me and taught me. He was very humble when he called me his boss. He was actually telling me how to build an industrial cluster in Saudi Arabia, and we took his advice, and we're very proud that our industrial sector is one of the fastest growing, the most competitive, certainly in the region, and we aspire for it to be a global manufacturing and industrial powerhouse in Saudi Arabia. We're looking to make Saudi Arabia the hub for global supply chain resilience, not just to meet domestic and regional, but global. And we want to do that by leveraging what you have in Pakistan. And I talked about mining, I talked about energy. We certainly want to leverage your human resources and your ICT sector. We have coined our reshoring initiative in Saudi Arabia as green shoring, to bring that green energy, and I think we can extend that concept to Pakistan if we can employ the Saudi companies that are active in renewable energy generation to embed it in some of the mining resources that have been mentioned, given that Pakistan, I understand, could be the fourth richest country in copper. So ICT, from manufacturing of components to software development, cloud computing, AI, data processing hub. Of course, food security has been brought to the fore with the recent conflict in Europe. The Russia-Ukraine war, I think, reminded the rest of the world that food security is a global issue. And it's certainly an issue in Saudi Arabia, where for generations we've been enjoying imports of Pakistani grains, especially Peshawar rice from my childhood. I remember it was our favorite food stock, of course, meats and poultry, aquaculture and fishing, and the list goes on. We believe Pakistan, as we heard yesterday from the Honorable Chief of Army Staff, can become again the hub for global food security, not just for the Arabian Peninsula. Saudi Arabia is investing heavily in global acquisition and global direct investment from Latin America to Europe, Ukraine, Africa, and we're investing, of course, in South Asia and Central Asia, and we would love for Pakistan to be a key hub for agriculture, food processing, value add, and export to third countries. Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Minister, these are only a few examples of what I see as low-hanging fruits, continuing with the food metaphor, and really ready for us to grab and turn into opportunities, to increase the confidence that thousands of other Saudi companies need to have to come with the 50 companies that came with me today. And we need to also create a highway that brings the great capabilities of Pakistan and the Pakistani people to continue what they are doing in Saudi Arabia, not only contributing to the Saudi Arabia of the future that we're building with Vision 2030, with their human talent, but also to bring the capability of Pakistani enterprises. And for them, from both sides, I can tell you, in no uncertain terms, and I've heard it repeatedly from the leadership, from my boss, from the leadership of Pakistan last night, and the Prime Minister during his visits to Saudi Arabia in March and in May when he came for the World Economic Forum special meeting. Both governments are committed to allow, to permit, to facilitate for the private sector to take its due position as the locomotive that will be pulling both economies, both governments, both leaders, everybody on the government side of both nations sees that the private sector is the driver of our respective economies today, and certainly will be more so in the future. So you can count on us to be right there with you, behind you, supporting you to make the opportunities that are right there for you to grab. And once again, I say there is no limit. The sky is the only limit to what we can do together. So thank you, Your Excellencies. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Excellency Mr. Khalid bin AbdulAziz Al-Faleh.